Hi, we have a problem here that asks us, or that tells us, the sales of weed trimmers and lawnmowers at a store are related by the equation 0.2x to the second plus 4xy plus 8.9y to the third equals 176,615.5, where x is the number of weed trimmers and y is the number of lawnmowers sold. So this problem is in two steps. The first step is to find dy dx, actually solve for dy dx, and find dy dx if x equals 13 and y equals 27. So the first step is that we're having to do implicit differentiation with y with respect to x. So we have to do the derivative of y with respect to x on this first equation. Now for the second part, the middle term right here, the 4xy, we're going to have to do the product rule. So that means first times the derivative of the second plus the second times the derivative of the first. Okay? So to write this out, this would be 0.2 x to the second dx plus, and then the 4xy, that would be 4x times the derivative of y with respect to x plus the second, which is y, times the derivative of the first. Okay, so dx of 4x, and then we have to do the derivative of y with respect to x for the 8.9 y to the third equals the derivative of this constant, 176,615.5. All right. So now 0.2x to the second with respect to x, dy dx, that means that would be 0.4x plus 4x dy dx. Well, that would just be 4x dy dx because we don't have a y associated with this first term right here. Yeah. Now we have y with respect to x. So dx of 4x is just 4. Okay? And then we take the derivative of y over here with respect to x. So that means 8.9 times 3. That would give us 27. Y to the second equals, the derivative of a constant is just 0. All right. Actually, I forgot my dy dx over here. There we go. All right, to clean this up, I'm just going to rewrite this y times 4 as 4y. Okay, that's all I'm doing. All right, so we have to solve for dy dx. So we got to get dy dx by itself. Everything that does not have a dy dx, we move it over to the right side of the equation. So when we do that, we have 4x dy dx plus 27 y to the second dy dx equals negative 0.4x minus 4y. Then we factor out a common factor, which is dy dx. So we have 4x plus 27 y to the second dy dx equals negative 0.4x minus 4y. Then we divide both sides by 4x plus 27y squared, and then we get dy dx equaling negative 0.4x minus 4y divided by 4x plus 27y to the second. All right, so that would be the answer for step 1. For step 2, okay, we want to find dy dx when x is 13 and y is 27. Okay, so all we have to do is just plug in 13 and 27 and for x and y respectively. Okay, so this would be negative 0.4 times 13 minus 4 times 27 all over 4 times 13 plus 27 times 27 squared. All right. So now we go to our calculator. So negative 0.4 times 13, negative 5.2 minus 108 divided by 52 plus 19,683. So we can put this as a decimal, we can put this as a fraction, whichever you feel like. So on the top, we get a negative 113.2. On the bottom, 19,683 plus 52. 19,735. As a decimal, rounded to the nearest thousandth, $113.2 divided by 19,735, negative 0.005736, which means negative 0.006 for the nearest thousandth. And that would be your final answer. Okay. Now, sometimes Hawks will want it as an exact answer. So if your decimal doesn't work out too well, that's perfectly fine. All right. So let's see here real quick. Okay, so yeah, that should be your final answer. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. Happy to help.